Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. For those of our friends who are at home, if you're needing to contact us, you can reach us at clerk@fulton.cnyric.org. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Would somebody move action 1.02 to approve the agenda?
Move it.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 6-0-0. In the event of emergency this evening and we need to evacuate the building, we have an exit door over here at 27. You can go out also around the corner. To the right, there's a door. Please move as far away from the building as possible. Would you please join me for the pledge this evening? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This evening's public forum, we have a few community members who would like to speak with us. Welcome. And I'd like to ask Larry King to go ahead and step up to the podium.
Good evening. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Larry King, and thank you for letting me speak tonight. For once, I'm not here to talk about hockey or baseball. What I'm here to talk about is our most prestigious program, I believe, in our school district, which is wrestling. All right? I'd be lying to you if I said I've ever been on a wrestling match. Never in my life, nor would I ever. But the reason why I asked to come here tonight is to talk about a guy I know named Ron Beef, which you all know who he is, who is a coaching candidate. I grew up with Ron, as many wrestlers, what I believe was our peak, where we had approximately maybe, in our history, maybe 6 state champs, and Ron was one of them. Ron moved away, coached at a couple of high schools out in Connecticut, did very well for himself, and has decided to come home. And now would like to coach our program. I grew up with those guys. In the heat of the battle, we packed the gym. It was mayhem in our gym. And I think Ron can draw them people back. He is like me. He likes to put a lot of time in with the youth, work extra hours, countless hours. And I know he does because I read it in the papers and I hear people talk about it. So I believe to get us back on top where we belong, he would be the guy to lead us. Thank you.
Thank you. Joseph Lordahl? You got some friends with you.
I do. Hello, everybody. My name is Joseph Lordahl. These are a few of my teammates, returning varsity members. I'm here to speak to you about the head coaching position, as Ron Beef, I feel, would be a better suit for our varsity team. As a team, I feel Ron would help us all reach our goals to become section champs. He has helped us not only in the season, but in the off-season become better wrestlers and better people. Please take our team into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Dan Hollowitz? Hi, Dan.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. Just got out of practice, so I apologize for my attire tonight. I'm speaking to you tonight as a 3 varsity sport coach, a teacher and educator for the last 30 years, a member of the 1989 New York State Wrestling Championship team, wearing a lot of hats tonight. I believe strongly in the policy that the board has established with your 3 positions, Mr. Capani as the Director of Personnel, Mr. Els as your Athletic Director, and Mr. Paulino as your Superintendent. I don't want to talk numbers, but it is all public knowledge. I think if you add all 3 of their salaries plus their insurance, you're pretty close to about $500,000. That's a lot of money that you're spending on 3 administrators to make a recommendation. I believe you had a committee set and the committee came back to those 3 administrators with their choice. I'm not really sure what issues you may have, but I will speak. As a former Fulton wrestler, I saw the 81-82 team win it in West Point. Ron Leaf was on the team. I think there was Apollo was on the team as well. They won it again in 1982 and 83. Again, another LaBeef and Paulowitz were on that team. In 1989, my year, I had the great honor and privilege to have Ron LaBeef as our assistant coach. I've been through a lot of Hall of Fame coaches. The great Wayne Blue, the great Mike Connors, and I wrestled for St. Lawrence under the great John Clark. Those 3 coaches are Hall of Fame coaches. Ron LaBeef is a Hall of Fame as well. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Valerie LaSalle? Did I say your last name right?
I will be speaking. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you did. Thank you. I more so didn't know I was speaking. I had questions, but that's fine. I'm Valerie LaSalle. I am a graduate of Jerry Bodley, class of 2012. I did want to point out from the day I started kindergarten until the day I graduated high school, which was 13 years, there was one mass school shooting. That was in Minnesota high school that killed 8 students. From December 2012, 5 months after I graduated high school, until current, there have been 7 mass school shootings at 4 high schools and 3 of them being elementary schools. So school safety is my biggest concern right now, sending my first grader to school. Sorry. Sandy Hook specifically because they were first grade students, which is my child right now. This is the 3rd full week of school. I have not been reassured yet of my child's safety regarding Valley Elementary specifically. My first grader comes home telling me he's locked down because kids from city BOCES that I was unaware of, at least as part of the school, that are violent. What happened last Tuesday where a city BOCES student chokeslammed his aide in front of my 4th grade nephew. So I just have a lot of concern, and I'm hoping, I'm completely going off script, but I kind of just want answers, and as to why Valmy residents, Valmy parents, were not made aware or are not aware that they lease, city BOCES students specifically, lease part of Valmy Elementary. I had a meeting personally with Mr. Lisi and Mr. Pelvino 2 weeks ago. Then my concern was SROs, getting 1 SRO in every single school in this district and school building, still my biggest priority. And then a week later, I find out the threats and danger are within my child's school, that we don't even have an SRO at full time, which now I have been told by Mrs. Stoddard that there is an SRO on site, however, it's taken away from the other elementary schools that I still have children that I love at. I hope the school board, I don't know if any of you guys still have school-age children, but it's not the same as when I was in school. I have to look at my kid every day getting on the bus. This is completely off script. I just want the school district to care as much about our kids as we do, sending them off, and I know that's not fact because I did my research before I met with Mr. Lisi and Mr. Pelvino. I reached out to the Fulton Police Department. I asked what needed to be done to get an officer in every school building. He said we needed the go-ahead from the school district. I had my meeting, they said they had the go-ahead. I didn't get a follow-up email from Mr. Lisi or Mr. Pelvino like I was told I would. You know who followed up with me? The police department. They said at 11:30 on the dot after my meeting, they got a phone call stating that they got the go-ahead.
3 minutes. This is important. She's sure it's 3 minutes like everybody else.
Thank you. Thank you. Greg Bailey?
Thank you, Greg Bailey, former Fulton employee, Fulton wrestling coach, Drew Modified, Fulton football coach. and a Fulton wrestler. I'm also here to support Ron Beef. I'm impressed with one of my former students here, Joe. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
I think wrestling has something to do with that. I was speaking with both my sons wrestled in the Fulton program, and Mr. Beef used to come in from Connecticut to offer his time to be a technician in the camp for at least one day. So every Sunday at my house, my kids are all, one's in Florida, one's in California, so we were discussing this situation. We talked every Sunday, and I mentioned that Ron was being put up for this position, and they said, Dad, he's the best technician we ever had in our camps. As a technician, they didn't say anything bad about Coach Connors. I had Coach Connors also. Coach Connors is a great coach, but Ron would come in. They said, Dad, it was unbelievable what he would do. He'd bring his two sons with him. He'd say, do this, they would do it, and then he'd tell his kids to slow it down, slow it down, slow it down, slow it down. My kid says there's no way you can not learn from him, because the way he breaks things down. If you're looking for a great wrestling coach, he's the guy for the job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time. I'm Victor Neri. I spoke to you a couple weeks ago. Really, this young lady's got a lot more on her plate. This district does. So, as a small business owner, for us to be here having to do this for something that is cut and dried from 3 administrators is a waste of everybody's time.
Okay, great.
I don't know why we're dragging this out. That's your business, that's your board. Ron Beef is the candidate for the job. He's been spoken for by numerous people. I believe there's letters written to everybody. But there's way more important things in this district besides the wrestling program. And our education is way more important than anything else. And if you read what Ron talks about, wrestling comes third, right? You saw his letter. Did you guys see his letter? You can't answer, they can't answer questions? Can they answer questions? They can't answer questions. So, his letter comes family first, education second, everything else falls into place. Is that correct? Thank you for your time.
Thank you, everybody, for presenting your concerns to us. We
Can I
really do
speak?
appreciate you.
Can I sign up and still speak? Is there time? Since she didn't get to finish. It's only quarter after, she should have time.
She can talk at the end.
It's up to you.
That is true. Board, would you like to give one more person an opportunity to speak even though they're not on the list at this point?
Sure.
Yeah, your name?
Marsha Ives. I have put 4 kids through the school system, and now at the end of this year, will have 14 grandchildren that will go through this. It is disgusting and disheartening at this meeting that all these people are speaking up for wrestling coaches. When we have reached out. I didn't realize you guys can't answer questions. I'm mind boggled that these kids are involved in school where 4 of my grandkids go. When can we sit and talk with somebody? Because we've already had meetings with the superintendent, we've dealt with the police. The grandkids are still terrified, crying that we have to carry them on the bus. I don't understand. Who can I sit with to find out about this lease, why it's okay, why they're not at 4th Street, why they have our SRO for the city kids? And I don't mean any disrespect, everyone deserves an education, not in Baldwin, not in our school, not where my kids go to preschool, grandkids, and I have 4 more coming up. It is disgusting that none of us know. I pay Baldwin taxes, I pay Fulton taxes. I own a business also. And everybody's standing up for a wrestling coach at this meeting. That's our priority. Disgusting. I mean, can somebody tell me what I have to do to sit down and get
So
answers?
I have Valerie's contact information, and I'm going to pass that on, again on to
We've already
the
met with them.
superintendent's team. But I'm glad that you guys did come tonight because we actually do have a security presentation going on. There is a lot going on in our district.
We were told this
People
was
are
a safety meeting and to come here. And there's been nothing said about safety. That's where I'm confused.
Well, we're gonna have a presentation on something that we're looking into. But as far as the agenda, that's the only safety information that's on there for tonight's meeting. It doesn't mean that there won't be something on in the future. But again, it would be through Mr. Polvino and his team as far as for the specific questions that you have that you might want answered. Of course, you can always send us,
If we have, we
Board.
email,
the board members, a letter with your concerns and questions so that we can talk with the superintendent and his team for what specific questions you have. But
does the board vote? Is that how the lease happened? Are we not even talking to the right people?
the lease through city is something that Mr. Polvino, is there something you would like to speak? Because they've been at Volunteer School for.
I'm more than willing to meet with you again, Miss Ives, as well as Miss Sully. We'll do that. And again, I thought we had a very good meal. We were very accommodating, tried to have those conversations, and we can meet more about that.
Absolutely.
That program has been here for a number of years.
But we
Not
weren't
yet,
aware.
during COVID.
Actually, before.
I had heard 7 years, and I had also heard that there are teachers that are at 4th Street that need a place for their offices, and I'm just confused why you wouldn't put teachers over in the volley rooms and put the 4th Street.
I'll reach out to you tomorrow and we'll set up a time to come in and meet again, please. Yep.
Thank you. I'm going to ask to move action 1.06, approve the regular meeting from September 10th.
Move it.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 6-0-0. Action 1.07, approve September 19th special minute meeting.
Move it.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 6-0-0. Moving on to our president's report for this evening. We'd just like to remind everybody about the board retreat that is on October 1st. And for the resolutions for the NISBA conference, if you guys can make sure that you get those in, they are due on the 27th, and then we will discuss them at the October 8th meeting. October 8th, we have a meeting. We also have a meeting on October 22nd, which is something we need to discuss a little bit about because the members that are going to the NISBA conference, that is the 20th through the 22nd, so I want to put it out to my colleagues. We need to decide if we would like to reschedule that meeting for a different date in October, or if Mr. Polvino, depending on what you have in presentations for us, if it's something that maybe we just then come back and resume in November. So just like to hear a little bit. I know there are 4 members going to the conference, so we would most likely not have a quorum for that meeting. Thoughts, concerns, postponement, reschedule the dates
Reschedule.
for another date in October?
Yeah.
Okay,
We're not gonna all be here, we don't really have a choice, right?
that is correct.
So reschedule it.
Yes. All right, so Mr. Polvino, if you can look at the schedule, I know that we're meeting on the 1st for the board retreat, but if you
Yep.
can look at the Tuesday.
Right, we have a regular
after.
business meeting on the 10th, so we can look at, in the
Or on
past,
the-
the board's been interested on the off Tuesdays.
Yep.
So either the 17th or the 31st.
Probably not the 31st. Well,
So-
I mean, some of you.
Those would keep us on Tuesdays, but we can
Yes.
send some other dates out, but the preference, we can start with the Tuesdays and go from
Okay.
there.
So if you can kind of send that out to us and
Yep.
work back up and we can get that on the calendar. I also wanted to point out that I received a email from the CNY School Boards Association. They are offering a refresher course for school board members. It's a roundtable meeting via Zoom. That is for October 2nd from 6:30 to 7:30. If that is something that you're interested in, you have to sign up for that. If you did not receive an email, please let me know and I can forward on the CNY's school board's email to you. So that was something that kind of popped up on Monday. All right. Other than that, if anybody has any questions on the president's report? If not, we're going to go ahead and pass it on over to Superintendent Polvino for the superintendent's report. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for everybody that's here this evening and speaking. We listen and hear, and we take that all into consideration constantly, so thank you for being here this evening. Couple of things, just want to say, going into the buildings with with my new team, Mr. Hendrickson, Mrs. Hendrickson, Dr. Lisi, and Mr. Pine are getting in the buildings, having a lot of conversations, really trying to get a real good understanding of what people are experiencing on the front lines. I'd like to extend to any of you, as always, you're welcome to set up a time if you'd like to go with us or go with me. You can actually see firsthand what's going on in our schools. So that's an open invitation at any time. Just let us know, and even the day before, we can kind of make it work. And you can pick the school. So anytime we can do that, because I think it's important that you see what our kids and our staff are experiencing in our schools firsthand. Second, I wanted to bring up the Blue Ribbon Commission. It's not on your agenda, but publicly, I think it's important to put out that the Blue Ribbon Commission is the commission that put together the graduation pathways for New York State. On the 30th, there is a Zoom sessions. I believe it's on our website. The information, we're going to blast it out through Parent Square as well. The evening session is for families, 5:30 to 7:30, I believe it is, if I can read my own writing here. And then the staff is 3 to 5 p.m. that day, and it's an opportunity for everyone to comment on the pathways and the direction that the New York State is taking with those. They'll then assimilate all those, and a final report and recommendations will be coming out soon after. By March, I believe, is the date. There's a Board of Regents in March, and that's when that report should be. So it's an exciting time, an opportunity to really shape education differently. I think you'll see a lot of elements that we see in some of our programs here, like our early college high schools, our P-TECH programs, a lot of our real hands-on interactive classes. That's what you'll see, I think, is a big part of the pathways that are going to be coming out for kids. And I think it's going to be a game changer for a lot of kids as well. So it's a great opportunity, and I look forward to the input and the outcomes from that. The first presentation this evening is our operations and finance report. Dr. Lisi?
Would you mind, would the board mind if we allow Swidget to do their safety and security presentation first?
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
We could do that.
Can I just ask a quick question about the meeting on October 30th?
Yes.
The Zoom meeting? It's a Zoom meeting for students, 5:30 to 7:30, or students and parents?
5:30 to 7:30, I believe, is families.
Families.
Yes. The way I read it was students. We just got the information the other day.
Okay. And then staff, who would?
Staff is 3 to 5 p.m.
For teachers of Fulton City School District?
Teachers of all of Oswego County. I apologize.
Okay.
It's on those of you, it's for all of Oswego County. It's run by City BOCES.
Okay.
And City BOCES will be facilitating that meeting. They're regional. Thank you, Ms. Mandel.
Yep.
Dr. Lisi, we'll turn it over. We're gonna, this evening we have our safety and security, our Swidget Luminance Crisis Communication System presentation. Dr. Lisi.
Sure, I'd like to introduce Cameron Wilson and Lowell Meisner from Swidget team. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Don. Does this work for everybody? Yeah. My name is Cameron Wilson. I'm the CEO of Swidget, and with me I have Lowell Meisner. He is one of the founders and the Chief Technology Officer for Swidget. And we're going to present a platform that is fairly revolutionary in the world of security. Just to give you a little bit of background on the company, we were incorporated in 2017, and we deal with many companies that you may know, both for distribution, with partnerships. Panasonic is a big one, where we do all of the controls and sensors for the ventilation equipment throughout the US and Canada. We work with ADT. We're distributed through Home Depot. We have integrations with Yale Security, Yale locks, as well as Ecobee thermostats. So we span a wide variety of, I would say, market verticals. One of the most important is what's been heard tonight, and that's the safety of young people in schools. And unfortunately, over the years, there has been an increasing number of active threats within schools. So while there's no panacea, there's no silver bullet, if you will, for this, what our system does is mitigate the loss, the harm, once an active threat is identified. We'll skip this part. The other person we don't have with us is Chris Adamson. He is a co-founder of Swidget as well. The way the system works is, and this is huge because it's easy to deploy and very cost effective. So this is a video camera, a high definition video camera. It's got an SD card for local recording if that's required. Not likely in this scenario. It's got a microphone that can stream audio. But the novelty of this system is that by replacing a regular outlet or a regular switch on the wall, one that has a cavity, you can put in a camera, you can put in an emergency light, you can put in a speaker, all sorts of notifications that once a button has been pushed by a teacher to activate that there's an emergency of one level or another, and there's a choice. The cameras, and this is really up to how the district wants to implement this, but the cameras in the classroom then turn on. And the benefit, just to give you, not to get to the punchline too quickly, is the benefit of this is that first responders, law enforcement, they have the opportunity to see what is going on. There are systems out there where you can push a button and all that anybody knows is there's a problem. They don't know what the problem is, precisely where it is, how many people are part of the problem. If there's more than one person, there have been all sorts of scenarios that differ between incidents. So the reason that this is novel is because of the electrical devices that really don't do anything themselves until the insert goes in. And they're easy to deploy, very cost effective. So to give you an idea, you can see the HD video camera in a light switch, and you can see a silent alert or a red flashing light, so that if a teacher were to press an emergency alert, you can choose to have the cameras go on in all the classrooms and all the hallways, or you can just keep it local to that classroom, to certain classrooms around where the emergency was activated. And then all the other classrooms can get a warning light that's flashing red. This can buzz for all the other teachers, so that everybody knows what's going on. So to give you an idea, I showed Progress Residential as one of our customers. One of the things we do is we provide vacant property monitoring. So Progress Residential has 100,000 homes. Whenever their home becomes vacant, they deploy the Swidget system and then put in cameras. So to give you an idea, let me just see if I can get this to roll here. So this is somebody breaking into an empty home. I don't know what city it's in. This camera is on standard resolution, and it's built into an outlet that you can see on the bottom left. So this gentleman had a gun in his shorts. He has passed it to somebody outside, this guy here. And this guy hops in and opens the sliding door to let his partner in crime in. And through working with Progress Residential, we've been able to eliminate a lot of trespassing, squatting, appliance theft. And those green boxes, they won't appear everywhere. They're just how the motion is detected. And I'll skip over to the next slide here. Yeah, I mean, this is the high resolution version of somebody at our office just showing how much detail the camera can provide. And this is huge for first responders, law enforcement.
Yeah, it should be noted here too that all of this you see is during the day, but these are all equipped with night vision as well, so there's no restriction on.
Thank you.
Yeah, so yeah, what Lowell was saying was that these videos that we're showing happen through the day, but they've got excellent night vision. So even if there were no light, there's a lot of infrared in here that allows for superior night vision. So the idea of the platform is that a teacher would wear one of these badges, and this is a mock-up. We need a better industrial design. We need to think through it with the teachers that we hope to do a proof of concept with at the Fulton City and District. But what it does is the red button would activate a 911 emergency alert, where a video stream would then go out to first responders, police, and give them the location of where the emergency was triggered. We've got another button, the orange one, that is a non-911 emergency. Let's suppose there's a fight in a classroom and the teacher needs some help. It's not a 911 emergency, but there would be, however the school sets it up, to respond to that situation. There's a text message screen on here, so the teacher can receive text messages to shelter in place or exit out of the South Hall, whatever messages that need to be communicated. And you want to do this silently in those situations. So that's the concept. Future versions of this will have a RFID and an electronic ID for the teachers and whomever the district decides to provide this to. But what's important to note, and this is for privacy, and certainly the teachers have got a concern about, will the camera be able to video what's going on in the classroom without this button being pushed? And the answer is categorically no. So the only way the camera feed is provided to anyone is once this happens. And once that gets pushed, then you can decide how you want to distribute that live stream video. Presumably, the more the better, because the more the people know what's going on, the better it can be handled. It's based, I'm not going to get into the technical detail here. If anybody has any questions, we can deal with that later. But it's based on a very secure Bluetooth mesh, so that the proximity to the nearest node can be identified and located within the building. And this mesh extends out through the internet modem, the Wi-Fi modem, to whomever you'd like it to go to. Typically, police and maybe other people in the building. School resource officer, for example. Do you want to?
Yeah, I'll just.
Yeah.
I'll come to Mike from this time. So, in terms of the actual cybersecurity side of this, because as soon as you start talking about sending messages all electronically, I'm pretty loud. Once you're able to do that, there tends to be well, what if somebody breaks in? Like, how is all this information going to be protected? And from a cybersecurity standpoint, we take all this stuff very seriously. And in fact, we look at it from really three aspects. And so you want to make sure that that from the user side, you're controlling who has access to it. You want to make sure that any information you have does not contain any kind of personal information, so you're not storing any information. So in the event that something does get in, there's nothing there for them to steal. And the other side of it is we always want to make sure that with the system running, that everything happening in the background is operating the way that it should, and there's nobody in there that shouldn't be in there. Whether they have a legitimate access but they're in the wrong location, or somebody just trying to get in from the outside. So we're looking at all those different accesses, and how we actually do that is through using AWS systems. They have a very, very high-end state-of-the-art system for security, and so we do this from a user access standpoint. They do this from many of the other systems that you see listed there. Really talk about how they're monitoring the back end of this to make sure that it's actually running as securely as it can. And when I talk about data, I mentioned, we're not storing any personal information or video or images. Of course, that's just a normal operation. When alert is activated, then you have a video stream that's part of this. And so what's important there is that we also use systems that allow us to be able to securely create that connection between the camera that needs to be on and the people that need to see the feed. And so there's a system in this example called Kinesis that actually does that for us. And in our commercial system as well as this system, we have this tested by external people, whether that's a third party. We've even had AWS engineers try to break into our system and nobody's been able to break in so far. We can actually go up to So the other thing that Cam had mentioned was that the system runs on, or at least the badge system runs on what's called a Bluetooth mesh. And the first thing somebody would say is, well, I've got Bluetooth on my phone, why can't I just, get my phone out and create an alert? Well, we make sure that that's actually not possible because we have different levels of security. Again, we have 3 separate types of security keys that basically restrict this to only the people that need to be on there. So we restrict it from a user standpoint, again, a device standpoint, application keys, and all the different network keys that are needed to actually make this run.
So just finishing up here, the idea of it is that you can see a school layout and you can see the red classroom there where the alert was activated. And in one of my examples, you could decide that you want the closest classrooms around there to activate the camera as well. Because these situations are not static. Somebody might be in this classroom now, but 30 seconds or a minute from now, they might be in the classroom next door. So these parameters are all configurable. It's really, when we talk about the proof of concept that we're hoping to do, it's not a proof that the technology works, it's how you want it to work, given your circumstances and giving all of the different stakeholders the input they need so that it works the way everybody is happy with in the end. So, yeah, that's really all there is to say about that. What we have proven is that technology saves lives. A few weeks ago in Georgia, there was a school shooting, and I think there were some people that attributed the fact that there was an alert generated that helped mitigate what could have been a bigger problem. That's great, but the problem is that nobody knows really what the problem is, where it is. All that they know is there is a problem. With and I'm not going to get into this. I think everybody knows all of the problems that have occurred over the years. But I think the point of this is that there have been occasions where officers have been ambushed because they're going in line to a building where they don't know that somebody's hiding behind this wall or this door. And you don't know if there's one person, 2 people, or 3 that are part of the problem. And Columbine, there were 2 shooters, and as this says, most of the shootings, most of the incidents happen in classrooms where there isn't any video at the moment. So the tactical intelligence to resolve these problems quickly is absolutely huge. So, it's not a great analogy here, but when you say a picture is worth 1,000 words, video is worth 1,000 words in this case, when everybody can see what the incident is, where it's moving, who needs to be dealt with and when. Yeah, and really I think that that's, I guess we can talk about the other part of this, the guidelines system that we have. If you look on the bottom left there, based on a floor plan of a building, of a school, we'll be able to install guide lights in the hallways that will provide directional pathfinding to safety based on where the incident occurred, and some intelligence built into a digital floor plan that will turn the hall directional light, green or red, indicating don't go this way, go that way. So that whole system tied together will be a huge help. As I said at the beginning, nothing fixes everything. It doesn't mean, we can prevent everything. I think what this does is helps everybody from law enforcement to teachers, and hopefully saves the lives of students that, through the ability to see what's going on. And that's really the crux of the platform lumens. So, any questions?
I do have a couple of questions. I kind of wanted to start out with the familiarity with our Fulton PD. Are they aware of this system? I think I saw Chief Kurtz here, right? And Deputy. Will they be trained along? So if you come in and work with our 5 teachers for the pilot, will they also be trained along at that time? So
we hope so.
Yes, and you guys feel comfortable? I mean, this isn't your first time here. Come up to the podium, Chief.
I guess this is an opportunity. Yes, we are familiar. We sat through a presentation. I thank Mr. Lisi for his support and Mr. Balbino. This is a tool that it seems to be easily, easy to become accustomed to, and something that we feel as a police department, technology is really where everything is moving towards, even in our industry. So we are aware of it. We'd be happy to partner in whatever training needs to be done at our department level, with the school, with the company, if that's the direction you go in. So we're more than happy to participate in any of that. I'll take this opportunity quickly to talk about the SRO a little bit and our stance and where we're at with that. I know there's some concern. Right now, you may or may not be aware of there's some waiver issues with New York State as far as our goal when we set up the SRO program was to bring in retired Fulton PD officers that were familiar with the district, familiar with the students, familiar with the area. And they would come in shortly after retirement, and they would fill those roles. And that's what we started out doing. Around the same time as COVID hit, and the state lifted the waiver requirements. They said there's not going to be a cap. So we went through a few years of you didn't apply for a waiver. It's still lifted for some of the areas in the state. So when they reinstituted it, they began to look at people that were holding jobs in SRO positions, and they reverted back to the way it used to be, and they started to send out letters basically saying you're risking your pension if you return to your previous employer. So that's where we have had to move and pivot to looking outside of our retirees to hopefully fill 6 positions. It's our goal. That's what we hope that the school board is on board with. That's always been our vision as a department since the beginning of this, is to have one in each building. We're excited that we started out with a couple and we moved towards 4, and we're looking to go to 6. Right now, it's not possible to fill those positions with full retirees, unfortunately. I think everybody would like that. I would like that, but because of the waiver issue, we lost an SRO that was in the district because of it, and a second guy that was going to come aboard decided against it because of the waiver issue until it gets ironed out at the state level, 100% a state issue. So I encourage you to, if you support that, if you support bringing back retirees, that the board, the school district has to be vocal with our representatives at the state level to encourage them to make those changes. They are notorious for dragging their feet. They'll tell us as a police department, as a union, as a statewide entity that they're going to work on it, and they don't. So that's where we're at in that field, but we are on board with training of any sort, whether it's with this program or other additional training, as we've always been since the beginning. We've been, had a relationship with the school now for probably about 20 years with the SRO program in some form or fashion. Okay.
Thank you.
I just have a quick question,
Yes.
because I'm not familiar with, like the waivers. I don't think I completely understand it. So, we try to hire Fulton both the police officers who have retired.
Right.
Is there a way, or have we thought about maybe newer police officers coming in as part of like the academy to get training as an SRO in a building to count, is that?
Outside of the waiver issue, there's just a general hiring issue. We have 5 people in training right now. We're down 8 officers of a 27-man patrol division. So effectively a third of your patrol division. That's where we would normally in the past, when the SRO program started, we'd pull somebody out of patrol, they'd work in the school as a school resource officer. We'd be trained to do that. That's, SRO Sheldon, Deputy Chief Dempsey, they had those positions when they were in patrol many years ago. So that's how you traditionally do it. With a shortage of police officers nationwide, it's just not possible.
Okay.
Everybody across the state, and especially in New York State, has gone to this model of hiring a retired police officer. Things were adjusted by the state to enable us to do that, but the thing they did not adjust is returning to your previous employer. It was something that was been in the law, and so we're really not even sure. There's some question as to once you get past the 1-year point, maybe you're okay, maybe you get your waiver approved. We've had some people that get the waiver approved, and we've had others. Former SRO of the town of Ludington, his paperwork came back with a cap on it. So there's been mixed messages from the state on that. So the hiring shortage is really the root of the first problem, because we'd love to hire 6 additional officers that could come in and be an SRO during the school year, and then help, in summertime to fill patrol spots. It'd be great. But that's not.
It's the shortage.
And for the foreseeable future, it's not going to be that way. It's just not. It's going to take years, if not decades, to return to young people wanting to do the job of police officer. So the waiver is a cap. All state employees are under that same guideline. You take a state job that's within the pension system, even though you wouldn't get another pension, you're capped at $35,000, and they just will not. They won't budge on the return to a previous employer at this time.
Thank you for the clarification.
Sorry. Hey Curtis,
Yes.
what other roadblocks are we facing in hiring SROs as well?
For the SRO position as it sits right now, that's almost the only one.
What about local employers also trying to scoop up our former police officers with considerable higher pay or federal, even at the federal level, or also other counties?
Yeah, that has been a hindrance. I think the school board, Mr. Lisi, Mr. Bovino, we've advocated for additional pay. That saved us in those areas. We did it at our police department. The need to compete. So we are competing against DeSoto County for SRO positions. We're competing with Onondaga County. We're competing with DeSoto Police Department, who made a substantial increase in their SRO pay. I think that we're competitive right now since that changeover, so that's good. But we still also are competing with private industry. We had somebody that had come back to our department that recently left to go work for an industry that it pays higher than what I was able to offer him as a retired police officer. He was our SPO administratively within our building, so he did a lot of work with the police academy, but he was capped. He wasn't, we just didn't have the funding to pay him more. So he took a job with a private industry, substantially more money. So there is that competition along those lines too. And those are more easily addressed. There's at least a solution to that. When it comes to the state and the waiver issue, if the state's not going to change it without being very, very vocal and pushing them hard, we have to wait for that. So, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I did have a couple more questions too. I'm sure some of my colleagues do as well. With the badges, you said there will be future versions that would go to the electronic ID. At that point, is that still considered part of our pilot, or is that going to be additional fees or costs or absorption?
No, the proof of concept is really to work with you to understand how you want the whole platform to work. This is just a mock-up. Once we get some more input, we're going to redesign the badges, redesign the way, configure the way the software would work for notifications upon activation, camera activation. So really, we've got all the technology, it's a case of how you want to implement it. But the badge piece is something that is probably going to be a few months down the road.
Okay, so we would start with something like you have now and then.
Yeah, for the proof of concept, that's all we need.
Okay. You also had a slide that kind of showed different features, and this is probably more of a Dr. Lisi, Superintendent Polvino question, but like the motion detection, smart door locks, things like that. You already talked about the hallway guiding light. Are those part of the pilot type of that? I know you have like a vape detection and air quality thing, but the other things that are more of our emergency, are they all included in what you guys are trying to work around with us?
Sure, we could include those with the right information on the building layout and so forth. I think the key is, the biggest bang for the buck is going to be the camera. And putting the camera in a classroom, and then deciding how you would like to notify everyone else in the building that there is a threat, there's something going on. So those two things are really I would say we get the biggest bang for the buck. The hallway guide lights certainly would be an additional benefit, but it would be incremental to the initial proof of concept.
Can I just, sorry, just gonna add one more point really quickly. Just, one of the things about the Swidget system that's really nice is that once you have the infrastructure, and what I'm talking about is the outlets installed, the switches installed everywhere, what you're doing when technology changes, or you guys decide you want to use the system differently, is you're swapping out these modules. You're not having to redo the whole infrastructure again. So it makes it very easy for you to update how you want it done now, and when new things come out, it's very easy for you to add them to it later. And the great example is the motion, or the air quality, or the vape detection, or all that stuff, because it all would fall under the same umbrella in terms of our system.
Okay. And knowing that you're going to be piloting this possibly for five of our classrooms in the district, this is again more of a district question. I am going to assume, but you should never assume, that all of the students that are in those classrooms, that their parents and or guardians would be notified as we would do any other emergency evacuation?
Absolutely, that's all normal, emergency protocol.
Okay, so there's no surprises? Their parents would know that their kids are involved in this pilot? Okay, I might have one more question. Go ahead, Phil. I'm gonna let Dallin take over. I might have one more.
So if I know we're discussing piloting in 5 classrooms, and then if we wanted to go district-wide, how many of the outlets are we considering district-wide?
Again, I'm not being evasive. It depends what you want to do. It depends, how you want to notify other classrooms of the fact that there's been an activation in a separate classroom. But my guess would be 2 to 3 per classroom. An outlet, a switch, or 2 switches, or 1 switch and 2 outlets. Typically in a square classroom you get away with 2, but if the configuration of the room is such that you may want visibility from somewhere that the camera can't see, you might want a second camera in there. So 2 to 3 devices, I mean switches and outlets per classroom, and then populate them with probably a couple of cameras and an emergency activation light that will flash red or whatever color you like.
So we have 3 300 classrooms? How many classrooms do you have in the district?
About 400.
So we're talking about 800-ish plus outlets. And we have about 700 staff members. So we need 700 badges. And what would a timeline look like if we were going to do that district-wide?
In terms of our ability to,
Produce.
the production is not so much the issue, it's really the timeline for installation and who's going to do the installation. Is that going to be done by the district, or we can help hire somebody to do it, but it's months, I would say, would be realistic.
Yeah. Sorry, just making one more quick point. So again, coming back to the wiring device side of it, if we can plan out where you want things, like the cameras and things don't have to be ready just yet for you while we work on the proof of concept and getting the things the way you need done, but they can be installed at any time. As long as we know where they need to go, they can be installed at any time because they basically behave just like a regular switch or an outlet, even with nothing installed on them. So you won't lose any functionality. It's just you sort of get ahead of the game by getting these things already pre-installed. So it's almost as quickly as you would like us to look through a floor plan, discuss it with folks, and then just get them installed.
Okay, and then the last question is for our district. How are we with any type of staff buy-in to move forward?
I can address it. So we've had meetings with our bargaining unions. We're still continuing to do that. So we're having those conversations, obviously with all the memorandum of understanding, so that all parties are involved in the process from start to finish.
What are we doing? Are we going to also have cameras in the entranceways and exterior doors, hallways, things like that? Or is it
we
just
actually already have those. We have surveillance cameras all over. So
that are able to like look out? Are they going to be intertwined? Isn't this the correct word?
Interconnected.
Interconnected.
Yeah, if you've got cameras outside and in the hallways, our cameras will integrate. We can pull those cameras integrated so that you can see any camera that you'd like to.
Okay.
One question, I was in on your meeting Thursday, and you had mentioned that, okay, so the things that the lanyards boxes that we wear, they have, please remind me what they're called, nodules, modems?
I just call them a pendant.
Okay, so what you have inside you don't have, the staff member does not have to be in their classroom. It will pick up from wherever they are in the building, but if we have these, I'm gonna call them modules right now, I don't know you had them outside, and so if our staff members are outside, they also can activate an emergency, so it's not necessarily contained inside the building per se, correct?
Correct, as long as you're within a certain range, which I think is about 150 feet.
Something like that.
It's 150 feet of the school, or 150 feet of another staff member that would have one of these, because this acts as a node.
No, that's what it was.
No, okay, yeah. So this acts as a node to allow somebody that may be 200 feet away to use their badge as a node to connect to the whole system.
So I think my point really too was just to say that, as we're looking into this system, we're not necessarily just looking specifically into the classroom itself, but we want it to be able to move beyond that so that, there's, on top of the cameras we already have, we've used no eyes and zero eyes, and we have, our SROs and all the things that we're putting into place, but this also will move outside of the building as well. One big piece is the training for our staff, since we do have such a big staff, and I know that you gentlemen were saying it could take a couple of months for things to be in place everywhere, should we go with this system. What does that look like? I mean, we have a lot of substitutes, and we're going to want to make sure substitutes are covered, but the biggest thing for me is making sure that everybody is trained on this. Our custodial staff, I'm assuming, will be trained as well as our aides, TAs, monitors.
Yeah, we brought on board a gentleman called Peter Norse that is basically a chief marketing officer for this segment. And he is going to work with whomever is assigned to develop the training manuals and the protocols and so forth. I expect what we'll do is we'll do short videos to run through how the system works, and it's not a difficult system to understand, but I agree that everybody needs to be aware of what it is. And so we'll take that on as, you know, we'll provide the collateral, we'll provide the videos, and you provide the access to the people that you need training.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, I'm interested in seeing how this works. I do want to note out too, in my real life, I would probably pilot this in my classroom. I think it at least deserves the opportunity to look into and see if this fits for our needs here at school for keeping safety for our staff and our students and those who come in the building. So I don't know, just wanted to throw that out there, that I really do think that I would pilot this in my own classroom. So thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you very much.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Turn your microphone on, Tim.
You said that the camera, I think they You said that the cameras are mounted in an outlet junction box, right?
They're mounted in a Swidget electrical device, whether that be an outlet or a switch or a dimmer switch. So it's in a traditional, but I can go back to, well, I can show you here on the screen. So basically what you do is you remove a traditional outlet that's on by the stairs there, you put in the Swidget outlet. It wires just like a regular electrical device. It operates just like a regular electrical device until you pull the blank plate out and put something in there, whether it be a camera, whether it be guide lights, an alert light, and as somebody said, we have particulate matter for vape detection and air quality and other things that we can talk about a year from now. But that's how it works, yes.
Right, I get that, I figured that.
Okay, good.
But my question is, every classroom has an outlet generally. And you said you want a system that's in the hallways that would, if there was an emergency, it would light up red or green to show which way to go, where not to go. I just went out in the hallway here, I didn't see a damn outlet anywhere.
Yeah.
Now, would that be an additional cost where we'd have to have someone come in and wire everything to do this?
Oh, I don't think we're looking at that part of the system just yet. I think the goal right now is to pilot the classroom camera system. That was the impetus. That's the first thing, is situational awareness for our first responders and administration, so we know what's going on in classrooms. That's where the gap is. The hallways, I think that's something we'd have to look at down the road.
That would be very expensive.
It would be. It would be. If we don't already have outlets already, it would be. Right. Yeah.
Would this not intertwine with our current camera system?
It would.
Yeah. So we would have that
We would have
relationship,
cameras.
cameras in the hallway.
Yes.
And just really quickly, just to go back to the previous question about lights in the hallway. One of the things that we are also looking at is, I think everybody's aware that Bluetooth is very low energy. Everybody has headphones, they last quite a long time, they're very small battery. And so we've been looking at those same directional lights as a, like a 2-3 year lifetime device that would get stuck to a ceiling, for example. So it would still participate in our network. You would not have to worry about the maintenance, at least for a couple of years. And really, it only gets activated, only in an emergency. So it will last a long time. And it also has the benefit of actually participating in that Bluetooth network. So we are looking at items specifically around where there aren't the right wiring device resources that people want, and these are some of the things we're looking at.
I guess I'll just count a little bit further. Our goal here is to look at where we have a gap. Where we have a gap right now would be in that situational awareness environment, so that you can see what's happening. That's the first gap in the event of an emergency. The other issue is just plain crisis communication.
Yeah.
Making sure that everyone's aware that something is happening. And so the hallway lights, personal opinion, is interesting, but certainly not the top of our list of needs.
I have one more question. in working with middle school kids for a very long time, they're very aware of things that are different in a classroom. And just wondering if if a student were to take one of the cameras out of an outlet, is there sort of an alert system saying that that has happened?
So just really quickly, first off, these are all locked in place. So you actually have to have a special key to get them out.
Oh, okay.
So once they're installed, they're kind of there.
That's
Unless you want to go at them with tools. And I don't know what these kids have.
They don't have that
Yeah, okay.
that high of an attention
Yeah,
span,
so
so that's good that they're locked in.
Yeah, so they're locked, so there's
okay.
not really any worry about them coming out. But in terms of if, for whatever reason, there's a malfunction, for example, or however they get their tool and circuit try to jimmy it.
I just wasn't sure if you could just pull it out. I wasn't sure.
No, you can't.
It's a great question, because many of our inserts you can, like
That's right.
USB one and so
That's
forth.
right.
The camera will be locked in.
That's right, and with all of these devices, the camera may not be active in terms of streaming, but it's letting it know, the main system know, hey, I'm healthy, I'm still here.
Okay.
So once that's no longer there, you'd have a flag go off on your command console, say in the main room, and somebody would call maintenance to say, hey, you guys need to go look at that camera.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, if there are no more questions, I really thank you for your interest in allowing us to present it to you, and look forward to working together on making it as good as we can for everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Lee's here to do the operations report. So I just wanted to say thank you to Swidget and the presentation. The next step will really be working with our bargaining units on those next steps while we do this and look at this. And when they talk about proof of concept, this is cutting edge stuff where we're one of the initial partners in this whole thing. So it's a great opportunity for us to design something for Fulton. Along with the input of all of our stakeholder groups in our schools. With that, Dr. Lisi.
Great, thank you. So our report for our financials is for August. So in August, we don't have a lot of activity. We'll start to see activity for our September report. So you can actually see here that in comparison from last year to this year, pretty much the same in terms of percentages for revenue and expenditures. And again, we'll see a great deal more activity for our September report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
That's it?
Next week at our operations, we do have the retreat next week, and we're really going to dig into the budget and really talk about how we're going to dig in and analyze and monitor and all those things earlier this year, so that we go through that as we prepare for our 25-26 budget while we manage our 24-25. And with that, also a reminder, we still have a few open houses left. Tonight was the junior high. Was going on. We have Granby tomorrow, the 25th, Volney the 26th, and Fairgrave October 3rd, and also just a reminder about the Blue Ribbon Commission on the 30th as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Polino. We're going to move on to action 4.01, accept financials. Let me move it.
Move it.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 4.02, approve disposal of surplus property.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 5.01, approve committee on special education.
Move it. Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. 5.02, approve combined boys swim team.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. We have the first read on 3 policies, so if you guys could take some time to look over that, and we'll be bringing them forward at the next meeting. Action 7.01, accept resignation for retirement.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 7.02, accept resignation.
Move it.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 7.03, appoint replacement teachers.
Move it.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 7.04, appointment of detention supervisors.
Move it.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 7.05, appoint substitute teachers, tutors, nurses, and interpreters.
Move it.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 706, appoint extracurricular activities.
Move it.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 7.07, appoint clerical staff.
Move it.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 7.08, appoint custodial and maintenance.
Move it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 7.10, appoint student helpers.
Move it.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 7.11, appointment of lifeguards.
Move it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 7.12, appoint winter athletic coaches.
Move it.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Abstaining? Nick and Fallon.
We both know.
Yes. Everybody else, was there any abstaining? Okay. Passes 4-0. Action 7.13, appoint volunteer athletic coach. Somebody move that?
Move it.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 7.14, appoint athletic contest supervision.
Move it.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. We're going to start this evening's board forum with Mr. Crandall.
Oh, I just want to thank everyone for speaking tonight. Good for the presentation. And that's it.
Mrs. Hutchinson?
I also wanted to thank everybody for speaking tonight and the presentation. I did have some family members come to me at the high school. I didn't think about it until just now, Mr. Polino, and they said that when they had the open house at the high school, they had really great presentations on scholarships and FAFSAs, and they were doing something nice for students. But not every family can make that, and some students get early college high school or other later rides and things like that, so we didn't get to every student. Those are the kind of things that I would really love to see if we could stream those or record those or push those out to our family. Financial aid scholarships are so important to families. They're so misunderstood, even when you have a healthy dose of the education system and things like that. So if we could do that, in the future or in the spring, that would be really helpful. I know a lot of kids are making their decisions now, so that, other than that, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Where would we put those? Where would you suggest that we push those out? Because I also think that's a really great idea.
Perry Square, would be a great place, our Facebook, our website. If we could get a pre-recorded session of the importance of FAFSA, the things that you need for FAFSA, scholarships that are available not only here, but, also through different colleges, when to apply for those scholarships. It's just really critical information for our students to have.
And maybe we can brainstorm and figure out a good place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mr. DeJean.
Thank you to all of you, all of you who came and voiced your opinion on certain concerns. Thank you to Swidget for their 4th presentation. They're patient people. I do want to say a couple of things here. I think it's important that nothing is a given if you're offered a job or if you ask a question about certain issues and somebody misspeaks. Nothing is certain until the board, this board, votes on it and either approves it or disapproves it. And that's by majority. For myself, I don't speak for the rest of the board. I'm not influenced by social media blitz. I'm not influenced by letter writing campaigns. I vote for what I feel is best for the students of this district. I voted no tonight on the coach resolution because all of the coaches were included in one resolution and I couldn't vote no for one person. So I just want to let any of the coaches who are up tonight, let them know that they may not necessarily be the one that I voted no on. And I just want to let admin know that in the future, I'd like to see at least the coaches listed individually on the agenda to be voted on. So we can vote on the individual and not the group. And that's all I have.
Something for future discussion. Thank you. Ms. Pearl.
I'd like to thank everyone that spoke tonight. I appreciate your passion, and I want to thank Swidget and for that. And I want to mention Lanigan had their open house, and I spoke to some people, and they said they had a really great time. They enjoyed it. It was well done, and I'm sure the rest will go the same.
Thank you. Mr. Maynard.
I would just like to thank everybody who came to speak tonight. I think that it was very brave. I think that I wish that more people would come and speak and let us know what is going on in the community. I can only speak for myself. I only hear so much, and we only know what we know. So thank you for bringing things to light. Thank you for coming and speaking on behalf of what you may be experiencing, or maybe you know somebody else is experiencing in the community, because we really do care and we really would like to know about those issues that might be arising. So thank you, and I look forward to learning more about Swidget. Maybe we can go for a 5th and 6th presentation. So thank you for presenting again.
Thank you. Mr. Polina, I wanted to start out by asking you, and I know that Ms. Cunningham cannot be with us tonight because she's an athlete and she is out at her own game, but we did find our junior in waiting, correct?
Yeah, and as soon as you asked, it went out of my head. I just went over and met them. Was that?
Thank you.
Gianna. No, it's Gianna, yes. So what I did this afternoon at Miss Abelgore's request, we've been talking about, so I actually met with the 2 of them this afternoon. We talked about expectations, but of what their expectations of being members of the board are. I think Gianna was, she was kind of, in her first moment, she was there at lunch, so she was kind of, had some initial thoughts, but Santina she said she's really going to be providing more information. You know, there's ways, even if she's got a soccer game, she wants to be able to express. So what I'm going to be doing is our agenda setting happens on Thursday with Mr. DeJoram and Miss Abelgore. And what we're going to do is on Fridays or Mondays, I'll be meeting with the 2 of them together. I think we found a time in their schedule. We're going to work with their schedules. And I'll work with them, and they'll get information about what we're going to be doing, so that if they have questions, things like that, and if they have things that they want to bring up as well. And so they're hoping their schedules will be a little bit different. One is a dancer, and dancing happens to be on Tuesdays, and she's actually working with her dance tonight and figuring out how that might work differently. And Santina does she's in more of our fine arts. in the wintertime, so her schedule will be much more accommodating. But they had some terrific ideas. I really had a great few minutes with them this afternoon, and we had a good conversation. They're looking forward to being there, but thank you for encouraging me to meet. I know that in the past we had the principal doing that, but I think it's kind of good for the superintendent to meet with them and give them that attention firsthand.
I just think it's very important for the students to be aware of what's going on the agenda so that they can be prepared. So to our students who are sitting in the audience, you have 2 members in your high school who are board members that sit at our meetings. One sits at the table, one, when they're with us, will sit out in the audience. When you have questions, when you have concerns, seek them out. Let them know what's going on in your building, because nobody knows better what's going on in the building than you, the students. And we can't do what we do up here unless we're hearing from you guys. So it's really important to reach out to your board members, pass this all on to your friends at school. Talk to your student board members and also your student senate so that we know what's going on, what you guys would like to see, things that are happening in the building that we as adults might not be aware of, okay? So I just thank you very much, Mr. Bulgino, for meeting with them, and I'm so glad that we have both of our students up and ready to go.
Mr. DeJorm had that.
I just wanted to ask if I can sit in on those meetings with you, because I'm talked to Ms. Cunningham about coming up with a student board handbook. And so I've been working on that, and I have some examples from other schools.
And work that through somehow.
That would be great if I could have a few minutes at those meetings.
We can visit, as I extended visits to schools, and this will be apropos.
And once, I know we have an ad hoc team for the board of handbook, and we did also ask Ms. Cunningham if she was willing to sit with us, and I know that Mr. DeJorm has information from one of the conferences that he went to, so that will be huge with getting that into our handbook as well. So speaking of our ad hoc committee for the handbook for the board, I believe it's Ms. Linville and Ms. Hutchinson. We need to sit down and find a time that works for us so we can go ahead and get started on that project as well. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Thanks to Chief Curtis for clarification and bringing forth some information to us. We really appreciate you both being here. Deputy Chief Dempsey is here as well, so thank you for that. Thank you everybody for coming and speaking with us. Really do appreciate it. We are just in the start of things for the year. We can only go up from here, and we do appreciate everything that you sent to us. When you come and talk to us, we do like it, because we don't like to sit here alone. So thank you so much for joining us. With that, I am going to open up to second public forum. If there is anybody who would like to speak this evening on anything that was on tonight's agenda, now is your time to approach the podium and go ahead, and you'll get another 3 minutes. Anybody? Okay. We are going to move into executive session at this time. So we thank you for joining us, and all of those of you who joined us from home, thank you very much. Somebody move executive session? Move it. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 6-0.
It's appropriate because it's your board.
You are.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and call action 9.01 adjournment. Somebody move that?
Move it. Second.
Third.
Alan and Jen, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Thank you and have a nice evening. Okay?
Yes.